Hours, 1.9 kilometres. We're heading for a 190-kilometre race tomorrow. But here, look at that, Marco Whitman, the young man from BMW, their reserve driver last year, was fastest in free practice for Mike Rockenfeller, who's rushing off from here to the Nürburgring later for the 24-hour race and going through the field. The 22 starters this year, of course, Mercedes with 6, whereas BMW have moved up to 8 competitors. Well, those were the times in practice, David, but in qualifying, it's a different deal. It's all about that Banshee lap. It's all about really putting it on the line. And, well, how important is qualifying? A year ago, we would have said it was mega important. You had to get a really good lap here as we look at Timo Scheider. But, of course, 2 weeks ago at Hockenheim, the guy finishes second off the back row of the grid. But there, of course, the DRS really worked a lot at Hockenheim and made a lot of overtaking manoeuvres easy. Here, it's a different story.
Hockenheim's a very different circuit, isn't it? It's a longer circuit, it's a wider circuit, different types of corner. Here, as you've been making the point, it's 1.9 kilometres. It's a narrower circuit, it's a much shorter lap. There aren't so many easy overtaking opportunities. And a 70-minute race around here is going to be a bit like 70 minutes in a tumble dryer. There's nowhere for the drivers to relax, and the corners themselves don't lend to easy overtaking. It's a narrow track, but you can overtake, but you've got to be brave to do it. The DRS will work, the drivers are saying, but it won't have quite the same impact as it did at Hockenheim. It's going to be a very different sort of race, and therefore, to answer your original question, how important is qualifying? Very around here, and very in capital letters, Andrew.
The other factor, of course, new this season, second time we've had it, is the option tyre, and they don't get to use that in qualifying. No option tyres in qualifying. We don't know how it's going to work yet round here. Deutsche Post, Timo Glock getting ready. Obviously just his second DTM race and his first race with this new M-Tech team. A wheel fell off.
And it's the first time he's ever been to Brands Hatch, would you believe? Because the categories he has raced in have never brought him here. But so he's the Brands rookie.
Yeah, as we see Mike Rockenfeller out there. But he's got his former Marussia Bosch John Booth here this weekend to probably give him a few tips. I mean, John was a raceball racer in his time, so he'll know all about where the top spots are to overtake at Brands Hatch.
He won many a Formula Ford race around here. Q1 is underway, it's 16 minutes, it's everybody on track, and this is the one that's about not being slow.
Yeah, and we've got to knock 6 people out here. We see on the screen the purple for the fastest sector. That's just by dint and the fact that Rocky is the first guy that is on a flying lap, I should say, and Rocky heading off after Sunday to take part in the Nürburgring 24, where he's driving with Marcel Fazler, Frank Stippler and Marcus Winkelhock. And he can have a good chance of winning that Nürburgring 24 out. Molina then out, David.
Couldn't be a more different circuit, could it? Just going back to Mike Rockenfeller. Miguel Molina then, making his way up towards Druids. He's had 2 poles in his career. He's not been a winner yet, but we know he's got the pace. And there is the American driver, Joey Hand, in his second year in the BMW.
Yeah, we had a chat with him at lunchtime, Joey. I think he's pretty confident around here. He's got his manager, Calvin Fish, with him, who won Formula 3 races, I think, around here in the dim and distant past. And in the days when he was racing against the likes of Brundle and so on. So he will have given Joey a tip. Joey said he was quite intimidated a year ago when he came here, but now he thinks he knows the place quite a lot better, and he's looking forward to it. But he was looking pretty racy in the practice. I think he was 6th in that. So Joey is really up for it here.
Turning his way through paddock, then you can run wide and get all 4 wheels onto the curb, but it's not that kind of a lap for him. That's Graham Hill Bend, where again you can run wide over the curb. Felipe Albuquerque going up now in the Audi towards Surtees and McLaren with a heavy fuel load, of course. The cars will bottom, they will spark. Always dramatic around Brands Hatch. And then this is an important corner again. Jamie Green was saying yesterday, many of the corners are a bit frustrating because you have to be oh so patient before you nail the throttle. Yeah. Otherwise you'll drift out wide and actually lose time. Albuquerque through them, onto a flying lap now. Second behind Rockenfeller, but there's more to come.
Yeah, Rockenfeller's already put a 41.662 in, but this session, when we're all said and done at the end, David, it'll be probably 0.7 of a second between first and last, and people will be knocked out of sessions by maybe 2 or 3 thousandths of a second. It's that close.
Remember here last year we had people being knocked out on an equal time,
yeah.
and the person that got it earlier went through and Matthias Ekström did not. Augusto Farfus then, the championship leader, winner at Hockenheim in his spectacularly driven BMW, making his way up towards 30s. This is his first flying lap. Mike Rockenfeller has done the time to beat at 41.5 thus far, and a 41.2 is the pole time from last year from Gary Paffett. Let's see what Farfus can do. Confidence up, of course, championship leader. He's raced here in the World Touring Car Championship, and he comes across the timing line, and that lap puts him fourth quickest.
Yeah, we've got the 3 British drivers here. Gary Paffett, who won last year from the pole, never headed. We've got Jamie Green, who of course has switched from Mercedes to Audi. And then we've got Andy Prio,
who had a real nightmare time last year. He was asked in the press conference yesterday, what's it like doing 98 laps around here? He said, I'd love to know. I got knocked off on lap 2 by David Coulthard.
Yeah.
I wish I knew.
So Sparks again, yeah. Coming down through Graham Hill Bend. And already just 11 minutes left, David. And quite a few of the drivers have not gone out yet.
Jamie Green bouncing over the curb. Really, you need to do one good lap to make sure you are through. As I say, this is about not being slow. You want to make sure you're not in the bottom 6. You don't have to be the quickest, just not in that bottom 6. Jamie Green, who oh so nearly won the first year that DTM came here, but he made a mistake when leading at Graham Hill Bend. He comes up now over the line. Not his favourite circuit, but he normally is a front runner here, that's for sure. And he goes through, and the lap that he has just done puts him 6th fastest. You're on board with his teammate Matthias Ekström, who did some damage to the car in free practice this morning, damaged the splitter, and therefore he lost a certain amount of track time, got himself 10th by the end of that session.
So easy to do that here, David, on these curves, and once you damage the splitter, you can lose a lot of the aero. The Red Bull car, there's 2 Red Bull cars, Ekström with the red markings on the front of his car, and then Jamie Green, you'll see the yellow markings on his.
And the track is now getting busier as well, so the drivers that went out first and did a good lap may have timed it right. Timo Glock turning his way through paddock, he's 9th.
Track temperature is 18 degrees, the air temperature, that's just 13 degrees. Not much good for a late spring day. Here is Timo Glock then. As you said, David, unbelievably never raced at Brands Hatch before. I'm not sure he's ever even been here before.
Well, he is in for a challenging weekend, that's for sure, because all of those around him have track knowledge from DTM and or other categories. Here he comes through Clark Curve. Ekström is ahead of him on the road. 9 minutes and change are on the clock. He comes up towards the timing line, and let's see whether this is going to be an improvement for him. Timo Glock comes across the timing line, and it's a 42.549. Not an improvement. See how busy the road is getting, and of course on such a short lap traffic is always critical, whether it's in qualifying or in the race. Timo Scheider now, one to watch, double champion, and he also of course has been a winner here. That was back in 08.
Yeah, and now back with his favourite black car. He had a white car last year, for some reason he didn't like it. His sponsors asked him, would you like to change back to black, and he said, you bet.
Bet on black.
And of course, bet on black, and of course he started on the pole, and he's got fastest middle sector here, so Scheider is on it again.
Goes third. Third fastest.
Rocky, well, the first real flying lap as we got a great cloud of Hankook smoke there.
From Robert Wickens. Scheider goes wide at Druids. Andy Prio in the BMW coming through Clark, and Pascal Wehrlein up from Formula 3, taking over the Ralf Schumacher vacated seat, comes across the line.
Youngest man ever in the DTM at 18, Pascal Wehrlein.
So Rockenfeller, Molina, Scheider, Green, Farfus, Albuquerque is the top 6 at the moment.
Some of the drivers saying it's really quite bumpy on the entry up into Paddock Hill Bend.
So bumpy, in fact, that you may have to manually switch off the DRS to make sure you can slow the car down. That's how bumpy it is.
The DRS switches off automatically if the car's pulling G sideways, or even if you come off the throttle, even before you hit the brakes, that returns it to the original position. And it's 15 degrees it alters, David.
2.5 G is the magic number, and you can pull that going through Clark Curve. That's why, as I say, you've got to be careful you don't go too soon. Bruno Spengler through.
Werner fastest sector though, in fastest sector 1.
But down in sector 2, interestingly.
Yeah, dropped 0.3 of a second there, so that won't be a good lap. Well, let's look who's out at the moment. Not making the cut at the moment is Juncadella, the F3 champion, who raced so well here last year. And now it's changing again as we speak. Wickens is 17th, Juncadella 18th, Merry 19th, Whitman, Taurus, and one car not out yet, David. So work out who that is.
You've got a replay of Dirk Werner going very sideways at Graham Hill Bend, but he was able to recover from that. Gary Paffett coming up towards the line. And Gary currently is 8th fastest, so he's in, but he'd like to be a bit more secure. And as he goes over the line, he goes up to 6th fastest, so that's a job well done.
Yeah,
good enough.
Yeah, new colour scheme there. The black Thomas Sabo colours have switched to another car.
The one that you were looking for was Martin Tomczyk, but he is now out on track. A late arrival. Now how's Bruno Spengler getting on? 5th fastest. Christian Vitoris goes towards Surtees, flips then through McLaren, and he has yet to do a flying lap. This is the first of them, so this is critical to see if Vitoris can get himself into the top 16, Andrew.
Well, we would hope so in his 3rd season of the DTM. The former GP2 winner, Vitoris, in the shiny Mercedes with that chrome wrap on it. But Rockefeller, right from the beginning, went fastest, and at the moment, nobody's betted his time. He's on 41.545. Molina is the closest.
Vitoris did not go quickly enough. He was 21st. That was a start-up lap, I think, to be fair to him.
Yeah.
This is Martin Tomczyk's first flying lap. This will be another one to watch, but disappointing that from Vitoris.
Yeah, champion, of course, in 2011, and then switched to BMW from Audi.
Roberto Mehi has just improved, Andrew, and that knocks Joey Hand out of the top 16.
This is going to change right to the last minute of it, with 5.5 minutes remaining at the moment, which I suppose equates to a chance to do about 6 laps. Most people have done 5 or 6 laps. And Tomczyk is now top of the pile, and he has just bettered by 0.005 of a second Rockenfeller's time, which stood at the top for a while. Molina 3rd, Timo Scheider, and it's Green, and it's Spengler. But as we count the final minutes down to the end of Q1, I'm sure it's all going to scramble around again. And right at the bottom at the moment is Glock. He is in the pits. We've only got about 3 cars out at the moment. We go on board with Gary Paffett, who was born just up the road in Bromley. His dad Jim's here this weekend to support him. Gary Paffett pulling that, gee, you feel it in your seat as it pushes you down there at the compression before you go up into the hairpin. New colours there for Robert Wickens. Oh, no, that's not Robert Wickens. His car is orange. That is the Stern car, Danny Juncadella.
Making a mistake at Paddock. The ones that missed the cut at the moment, Verline, Mehi, Albuquerque, Torbay, Hand and Glock.
Yep.
So 1 or 2 drivers in that you wouldn't necessarily expect to be bumped out in Q1.
Hand has just gone back on track. So has Mary.
For the last roll of the dice, there's Vitoris, who is now improving and has got himself up to 3rd overall. Tomczyk, Rockefeller, Vitoris. No, Molina now goes 3rd, ahead of Vitoris. Paffett 5th, Scheider 6th.
David, Tomczyk fast at the moment at 41.540, and the slowest Glock at 42.044, half a second between all 22 of them.
It was 0.568 in free practice. So, as ever on a short lap around here, it's going to be close, but the cars are so evenly matched. There's virtually nothing between them. There's Verline at Graham Hill Bend all over the curb.
Yeah, remember the completely different body shapes that you see based on the production road cars like the A5, but the centre chassis is the same for all the cars. It's the same manufacturer, it's the same design. Then they hang their own suspension and body onto that base. And gearboxes are the same, drivetrains basically the same in these cars.
Joey Hand is an improver.
Oh, up to 4th.
Quite right too. Good sectors on that lap. Bit down in the last sector, but he strung it together nicely to go 4th. That keeps him in the hunt. So who does that bump out? Eduardo Mortara now misses the cut.
Yeah, who was Audi's only winner last season.
On a podium here 2 years ago.
Prio on the bubble, now at 16th place. Andy, of course, the 4 times World Touring Car Champion. Raced here in the WTCC, David. It was on the longer track, different sort of track, although Andy will know this from his Formula 3 racing days.
And Renault Spiders.
Yeah, Renault Spiders.
BTCC, and.
Yeah.
There's Roberto Mehi there, who at the moment is not in. He's 17th, and now Dirk Werner has done the best of anybody in the first sector, a personal best in the second. and he's on it, sliding the car through Clark Curve. He's 16th, he's on the bubble, and he needs to improve from there.
Oh,
he
he'll
comes up to the line.
improve. He could go fastest or second, maybe. And he goes fastest. And Dirk Werner right up there. Albuquerque in 20th, now into 10th place. The Portuguese driver. Ekstrom is out at the moment.
But Scheider has done a personal and an ultimate best, and he goes second fastest now. Timo Scheider up to second quickest.
Just looking at the people out, David. Farfus at the moment. And Ekstrom, they're the two big names. One that you wouldn't expect to see in maybe would be Juncadella. And obviously his Formula 3 rival, and Juncadella is out now.
Right, Farfus and Ekstrom are on track, and they're in the last sector, so there should be improvements coming.
1 minute, 20 seconds remaining.
Molina goes top. Right, Farfus is 6th, so he's back in.
Yep.
And Ekstrom is 8th, so he's back in. Panic over.
Yeah, Rockenfeller's dropped to 5th, look.
Now, Spengler is the one on the bubble. He's 16th. Spengler down to 18th as Vittman goes quickest of all.
Well, Spengler, pretty quick first sector. 16.1. I think Spengler will wait for his second split time. 11.2. Spengler's going to get in, David. Spengler's going to jump in there at about 8th or 9th, I would think. See the end of that lap.
If he does, that'll bump Jamie Green out. So he's the next one to watch, because he's on the bubble at 16th now. Every car that gets in is a story, but the car it bumps out, Jamie Green does drop out because Spengler goes 6th. And now Gary Paffett's on the bubble. He's 16th. There's Glock.
Yeah, and Gary Paffett is not on a quick lap. Gary Paffett is not on a lap that will get him in.
Glock, 4th. Going pretty well here, isn't he?
Yeah.
Comes up towards the line. Let's see if there's an improvement beckoning. Not on that lap, there isn't, but that's good enough to get him through. And 10 seconds remain.
Yeah,
we couldn't lose Jamie Green here.
If Green can get across the line, but he's on a lap at the moment. Oh dear.
But he doesn't improve. Did he escape before the flag?
It was close, wasn't it?
Very close.
Yeah.
The other one, of course, is Gary Paffett, because he's only 16th. That may be enough.
Yeah, the engineer's trying time this, of course.
Just depends, though, as I say, whether Green got through before the flag. We need to double-check that.
Well, we'll see you in 40 seconds, won't we?
Yeah, quite.
Yeah.
Flag is out now.
Well, and Paffett is out. Paffett has missed the cut. And he's on a lap, though, and it doesn't look like a brilliant lap. And, well, he's got back in, 16th, so he's on the bubble. And what about Green? No. Green goes 6th, yes.
So Paffett is out.
Paffett is started pole last year. He's going to start 17th. That's where he'll start.
Well, there you are. That's one of the fascinations about qualifying. You never quite can guarantee what's going to happen. Gary, you would have thought, would have been a shoe-in to get to Q4, but he's one of the big names, the biggest name, to get bumped out in Q1. He will start 17th. We also lose Vitoris, Albuquerque, Mehi, Verline and Juncadella, but out of all of those, Paffett is the big surprise. And now the timing screen has changed and put him back into 16th.
What?
The plot thickens.
What happened there?
The plot thickens. It also takes Jamie Green out of the equation. Interesting.
Well, I don't understand that, David. Do you think that they've decided that Green hadn't, that the flag had gone out?
Yeah, I think that must be what happened.
Yeah.
That it was marginal.
Yeah.
But on a double check on the transponder, then the last lap that he did to put him in was after the flag, and therefore Gary Paffett really does have a charmed life. He sneaks through. All right, I'll rephrase the sentence. Jamie Green is the big surprise, because you might have expected him to go to Q4, but Jamie is the big name that gets knocked out in Q1.
Yeah. And we've got quite a few Mercedes there. They don't seem to have I don't think Mercedes have got a great setup for here, David. Just looking at it thus far.
You might be right about that.
Well, a great qualifying setup. It might still have a good race setup, of course.
But the best Mercedes in free practice was only 9th. Yeah. And that was Gary Paffett. So I think you're onto something there.
Yeah.
So we lose 6. We lose Vitoris, we lose Green, we lose Albuquerque, Mehi, Verline and Juncadella. And this is the order of the top 11.
Well, that was all fast and furious, wasn't it? As these qualifying sessions are. And just to remind everybody, they do not use the option tyre. They do not use the DRS in this qualifying.
And those times are of academic interest now, because that only dictates who goes through.
Yeah,
but it's the last time that you set that is the one that you will count for the grid.
We've just set out the back 3 rows of the grid. That
Yes.
is set. The rest is all open. But this year, in Q4, which is the last 4, we can't expect to see the fastest times overall, where in the past we couldn't. Now they can run on a new set of tyres, which they couldn't in the past. And now they also have to put the cars into parc fermé after the qualifying session, which they didn't in the past. Quite a few little tweaks of the rules. Audi Cup 2013, that's new sponsorship on that car. It's a little mini football tournament which brings together Sao Paulo, AC Milan, Man City and Bayern Munich. I'm going to play a series of games on July the 31st at the Allianz Stadium in Munich. And Audi have done this little mini football cup in the past. Interesting colour scheme there. Certainly you can't miss that. Nice shot looking down at Brands Hatch. And they're the 6 that are eliminated in that quick fire qualifying session.
2 Audi, 4 Mercedes, but no BMWs. BMW looking very good around here.
That's a super shot, isn't it? Now we have slow-mo shots of the ones that will no longer drive today. And as we said, the youngest man ever in the DTM, going a little almost on the gravel, wasn't he there, right on the edge of the green part of concrete.
It looks so narrow, that strip, but you can get a DTM car, all 4 wheels the other side of the white line without quite dropping into the gravel.
Yeah, here's
but only just. Roberto
one
Mehi.
of the several Spaniards in the race. Roberto Meri. And just look how that bodywork, you know, it's just little carbon there, rippling around.
Second race in a row that Mehi gets dumped out. Albuquerque sneaked through into Q2 at Hockenheim, but he's out in Q1 here in the Audi. But this is the real surprise. Jamie Green, as he said to me yesterday, it's not my favourite circuit, Brands Hatch. It may have gone down even further in his list of favourite tracks. He will start 18th.
8 years driving for Mercedes. He knew where all the buttons were on the steering wheel. Everything's new to him, different way of working at Audi. And struggling a bit here, but now we can hear from Albuquerque in 19th place. Eve, welcome to our team.
Thanks very much, Andrew. So I'm here with Felipe. What went wrong? You finished on position 19, so not bad luck for tomorrow.
Well, we started wrong with the free practice. We had some problems, and now for the qualifying, we were just compensating, and we could not make it. So unfortunately, I was one of those drivers that I missed the Q2 for 400s. But it's like this, and it started a hard weekend for me. So we'll see tomorrow.
Actually, what about your setup? Perhaps you always choosing something for tomorrow. Perhaps it's going to be wet.
Actually, that's the thing. We don't know. We don't know if it's going to be wet or not. But for sure, what we saw in the first race in Hockenheim, the race can happen a lot. Now a driver came from last to P2, so anything is possible for tomorrow. And of course, I'm waiting for some confusions.
So you're looking for the option tires and the drag reduction system.
I'm looking for everything, to be honest. At this stage, P19 is not great, but we'll see.
So good luck for you. Back to you guys.
Thanks. He's always a bit of a happy chap, even not getting through into Q2, but he can put a smile on. And incidentally, remember Eve racing in the VW Sirocco Cup here at Brands a couple of years ago. She was a regular in that championship, so nice to have her on the team as we look into the garage of Gary Paffett, who just sneaked in. Hopefully you can get a word with Jamie Green. He's going to be a disappointed man. But well, because this doesn't stop Gary moving right up into Q3, but I just feel that Merck haven't got the setup, David.
I think you're right. I mean, looking at the evidence thus far, BMW looks to be the strongest of the manufacturers, and then Audi, and then Mercedes. But double disappointment for Jamie Green in a sense, because they'll have been on the radio to him saying, you're in, you've done enough, and then the timing screen recalculates and says, oh no, you're not. Mike Rockenfeller, as in Q1, first out, clear road ahead of him.
What a big weekend for his Phoenix Racing team, who run that A5. They are running one of the top teams at the Nürburgring 24 hours. They are based just at the Nürburgring, but running in 2 big races on one weekend, a major operation for any racing organisation.
Pit lane emptying, track gets busy, but of course it will never be as busy in Q1, fewer cars, but less time, 11 minutes on offer, not 16 as we had before.
Yeah. In that first session, Wickens sort of just in all the time, wasn't he? Just there or thereabouts.
Did enough to get through, which is what you need to do.
Exactly what you need to do.
Not everybody achieved it. Rockenfeller onto a flying lap. Still people coming out of the pit lane. Still people getting ready to leave the pit lane. We're down to 10 more minutes of the session. That's all now. So Rockenfeller, Molina, Wickens, Werner, Tomczyk on track.
We can hear from Jamie Green and Beef. Good work, Eve. Let's hear from Jamie. He'll be disappointed.
Jamie, unfortunately, you didn't make it into Q2. You had your last speak with your engineer, Alex Stehlik. So what went wrong? Your last lap was cancelled. So actually, what's going on for tomorrow for the race?
Well, the reason the lap was cancelled is that the officials said that I started my last lap 1/10 of a second after the session finished, after the time had finished. But there was a car off track in the last corner, so I had to slow down, because you have to slow down by half a second when there's a yellow flag. And then I was too late. I mean, there was no checkered flag when I crossed the line, so I did my lap. I had no idea it was too late. And then I saw the checkered flag, and I think I was in the top 5. So it's pretty painful to be put to the back of the field.
Being within the Audi family, now you're here for sure, the local hero. I think you get a lot of support from your fans, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, racing in England's always a nice bonus for me, a nice novelty. It would be nice if I had a little bit more luck, but I'll keep fighting.
Keep running for tomorrow. Thanks, Jamie, and it's now Q2.
Yes, it certainly is, and well, that explained that with Jamie, and working with his engineer, who for years was Ekstrom's engineers. So he switched drivers, Stehlik, this year.
Yes, it's as we thought. It was so tight against the time allocated for Q1. So Martin Tomczyk, who has already been fined €450 for speeding in the pit lane this morning, is speeding on track because he is the fastest in Q2 thus far, ahead of Mike Rockenfeller, then Miguel Molina. And you're looking at Matthias Ekstrom, who's a double champion and a winner here the very first year the DTM came to Brands Hatch. Remember, he was running third. Tom Christensen had a suspension problem and went off. Jamie Green inherited the lead and slithered off at Graham Hill Bend, and Eki picked up the win.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen Eki standing on the top step of the podium, and he's still got fire in his belly, I can tell you that, as Ekstrom is on a pretty good lap here and goes a 6th. Tomczyk at the top, Rockenfeller 2nd, but the way it was in Q1. Molina's there in 4th place, Hand in 5th.
Riding with Andy Prio, who was an improver last time through, but now he finds himself fighting to stay in the top 10 because Gary Paffett has just gone 10th fastest.
Yeah, Andy would really want a great result here. As ever, quite a lot of pressure on him, a lot of sponsors here. And of course, he was the king man, wasn't he, in the World Touring Car Championship last year. Struggled a bit in the DTM and started the season well at Hockenheim, but found it a bit difficult because, as you mentioned earlier, David, he got punted off by DC in the early part of last year's race. Let's see what he can do. A lot of support from the man for the Channel Islands, but currently he's missed the cut, or has he just moved up? Yeah, oh no, Prio's 14th at the moment. Paffett is just on the bubble and is in there again. Wickens in 6th place, the Canadian. 2 Canadians in this series, of course.
Timo Glock's first flying lap not good enough, so he isn't in the top 10. Again, you lose the slowest 6th, but now it is about being quick. It's the fastest 10 that we need to worry about.
Yep, and we've of course only got 6 minutes remaining.
Championship leader Farfus through, 7th fastest, Andrew.
Yeah, man who's got 2 DTM wins now. Came from a single-seater background originally.
Spengler's first flying lap. Where's this going to put the reigning champion as he comes over the line?
Well up, isn't it? Well up, I'd say. 4th.
It's good enough. Keeps him in. Tornbay misses out therefore. Ekstrom's down to 12th. Werner 13th. Paffett 14th. So lots with work to do. Marco Vittman has been the revelation of the day so far. Quickest in Q1, quickest in free practice. This will be his first flying lap as he comes over the timing line. And he's only 14th. Not good enough. Now he's feeling the pressure a bit.
Yeah, Whitman come out of the F3 Euro Series a couple of years ago, was the reserve driver for BMW last year. Did quite a bit of the testing of these cars, but this is his rookie season racing in the DTM.
Timo Glock pushing, isn't he? Personal best in the middle sector as he learns about Brands Hatch, but then he aborts the lap, interestingly. bails for the pit lane. Pit lane speed limit here, Andrew, slower than at Hockenheim. It's down to 60 kilometres because of the size and the width of the pit lane and the potential congestion. So a pit stop here is going to be longer come the race because you can go down the pit lane slower.
Yeah. What do we reckon? 26 seconds, something like that?
Plus the pit stop itself. Yeah, line to line is 26. Then you add the 4 seconds or so for the stop.
No, I think that will include it. No? Oh, it is slow then. At Hockenheim, it's about 22 seconds in, stop and out. So it's over half a lap.
Yeah.
This is one DTM race when we come to it on Sunday, where we'll be lapping of back markers. It's going to be very strategic. So Mortara out there at the moment, seeing him with the Playboy livery on the cars, but no sign of any Playboy whatevers.
Too cold.
Yeah, too cold. We do see them occasionally.
Now the session has got just over 4 minutes to go. Dirk Werner is missing out, so is Tomczyk, so is Ekstrom, so is Glock, so is Vittman, and so is Gary Paffett. So there's a lot to shake out yet with 4 minutes to go. Ekstrom is still in the pit lane.
Yeah, well, Paffett's down there, as you say, David, in 16th, and he's done 6 laps. New set of Hankook rubber going on to Andy Prio's car.
Backing up your earlier point, Andrew, you've got to go to 8th to find the best of the Mercedes, Rob Wickens.
Yeah.
They are struggling, Mercedes.
I think they have got a problem here.
All right, Mike Rockenfeller goes through, and he's 3rd. Podium finisher here in the past. Not a great DTM track record, but he is a stayer at Audi.
Yeah, we mentioned he was off to the Nürburgring 24 hours, as are Farfus and Tomczyk, who are driving Team Schubert Z4 BMW, so they'll head off in a specially chartered plane.
Mike Rockenfeller, quicker than anybody in the first sector, which basically is from the start line to the exit of Druids. The middle sector takes you to the approach to Clearways, and he's lost a little bit of time in that part of the lap. Gary Paffett, who you're looking at, has done a personal best. He goes green in sector 1, so he should be an improver. And Mike Rockenfeller is heading up towards the end of the lap. Can he go top of the times? Let's see. Gary Paffett, in the meantime, heads towards the timing beam as well. Rockenfeller does not improve in the end. What about Gary Paffett? The white line, the timing line is crossed now, and Gary Paffett goes 7th fastest.
Yeah,
that's good. Miguel Molina now goes quicker than anybody in sector 1, so it's changing almost car by car.
Changing second by second, isn't it, with 2 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. But Rockenfeller looking good this weekend.
Molina top.
Molina top, yeah. The Spaniard who was, for a little while in the winter, out of this team, and he thought he hadn't got a contract, and then he decided to stay with him after all.
Right, now Matthias Ekstrom is back on track, Andrew, and he's the next man to watch. Not on this lap, because it's his out lap, but he's got time for 2 flyers.
He's the big name that isn't through to Q3 at the moment.
Nor is Dirk Werner after his good results at Hockenheim. Andy Prio misses out as well, and Timo Glock has gone, and so has Marco Vittman, potentially, having been quickest in Q1. This is Prio.
But, you know, David, it's a 1/5 of a second between 10th and 16th.
Yeah.
It's a flick of the fingers, isn't it?
Right, Prio back in, 7th.
Whoa, I'm trying hard. You saw the car twitching there through paddock.
That bumps out Farfus, so he becomes the man to watch. This is Vittman, 2 personal bests. Can he get back in? He's 16th, he needs to be 10th or better as he comes across the timing line now, and the lap that he does is better, and it puts him 2nd.
Farfus is on a quick lap.
Yeah.
Glock's on quite a quick one that might get him in.
So's Ekstrom.
An old change, and Paffett's out now to 11th.
And Glock's in, that's the reason, 7th.
Yeah.
Right, we're on board with Ekstrom. This should be a good lap. Paffett's back in. Wickens is out. Farfus is out.
Farfus is on a quick lap, though.
All right, let's worry about Ekstrom first, because he's got just the run to the timing line to go. 15th at the start of the lap. He comes through now, and he improves to 13th. It's not good enough.
No.
The next one has to be good enough now.
Yeah, but Farfus is in.
Yeah.
Farfus is back in. Prio is back on the bubble.
And Paffett's out.
Yeah. Well, Wickens is out in 12th, and Ekstrom in 13th, as you said. And there's Glock. And poor Middleton. No, Glock's not going to do it, is he?
No, 11th. It wasn't far off.
And he really pushed hard. Welcome to the DTM, Timo.
But he was ragged coming through Clark Curve. I think, Andrew, had he not been, he would have had the time in the car.
What about Ekstrom then?
2 personal bests. It's looking good.
Now, this is a good one. This will get him in, I'm sure.
And this will push out Andy Prio if he gets himself into the top 10. Up to the timing line comes Ekstrom. He was 14th. He's now 12th. It's not good enough. But he's got time for 1 more lap. Don't rule him out.
Didn't have a good last sector at all.
He's not done yet, nor is Gary Paffett, but Paffett's down in sector 1. We might be saying goodbye to the Brit here. He might squeeze one more lap out of this. Come on, Gary, he's improved in the middle sector.
I don't think this will be good enough with a 16.017 first sector. 12th.
But he's got one more lap.
Got one more lap.
This is the one that counts, like Ekstrom.
He knows it.
To time
He knows it, David.
Right, this is Ekstrom. And in the sectors, sector 1 good, sector 2 bad. Are we going to lose Matthias Ekstrom?
We're going to lose Andy Prio.
Flag out, here comes Ekstrom up towards the timing line, and the answer is we do lose him. He doesn't improve on 13th. What about Paffett? 12th at the start of the lap.
Here he comes.
He's down in the first sector, down in the second sector.
No.
Goodbye, Gary.
Goodbye. And Gary Paffett will start in probably 12th place on the 6th row of the grid. Wow, what a difference a year makes. There's the flag.
No improvement. So we lose Glock, Paffett, Ekstrom, Wickens, Werner and Torbay. This, I've got to say, is shaping up to be a really good grid.
Yeah, Prio up there in 10th place. That's going to bolster his confidence. Wow, that was...
It's got the makings of being a tremendous race based on the fact that you're going to have really quick drivers way back on the grid and people therefore further up the front that aren't normally there. And we've got 6 BMWs in the top 10. So as we said during the course of that group of qualifying, it is very good for BMW. So you've got 6 BMWs, 4 Audis and no Mercedes making it through into Q3, Andrew.
Extraordinary, extraordinary.
Well, there is Timo Glock, who came close. He missed out by hundredths, but he's out, but he'll start 11th. I reckon that's pretty good.
Oh, yeah, I mean, compared with some of the other Formula One drivers we've had in the past, that's it's such a different discipline. And, well, Molina's a bit of a surprise to me, and Tomczyk, Whitman, but I bet you that all changes around again.
Oh, absolutely. Look at that, 61,000 split the top 2. Marco Vittman up there in the end.
Yep.
And Timo Glock out, Paffett out, Ekstrom out, Wickens out, Werner out, Torbay out. This is shaping up to be a great grid.
Glock went out by 300ths of a second. 300ths of a second. So, interesting Mercedes problem that we flagged up at the beginning. Here's the car from Torbay, which caught fire at Hockenheim with the Ironman 3 logo on it, promoting that film. Not sure I'll be going to see it, David. Don't know about you.
It's not top of my list of must-sees,
No.
I have to confess. This is Dirk Werner, 15th fastest. Well, can he put in another of these amazing strategic storms from near the back of the grid, as he did at Hockenheim? Dirk Werner, who is a bit underrated still, very quick driver, but sad to say, he misses out, starts 15th. And there's the man, Andrew, Robert Wickens for 14th.
I like the facial expression. Here he is in the car sponsored by the company that makes chainsaws, amongst other things.
So he'll be hoping to steal a place tomorrow.
Well, yes, he certainly will.
But 13th is where you get to another big name. It's another Red Bull Audi that's gone. We lost Jamie Green. Now we lose this man, Matthias Ekstrom.
Yeah, former champion, of course. Matthias Ekstrom. Or Eki, as he's known in the paddock. And now we can hear from Gary Paffett, who will be disappointed with 12th place. Very different from a year ago.
For sure, Gary, you must be incredibly disappointed. A local hero out of the qualifying and no Mercedes in top 10. What happened?
It was a difficult, very difficult day for us. So this morning the car felt okay, and even in qualifying the car felt okay. But clearly from the Q1 we were struggling with pace in general. We just made it through to Q2, and then Q2 I drove so hard. I got everything I could out the car, and we're just not quick enough in qualifying. So hopefully the race pace will be better, but it's a bit of a surprise. I mean, for me, after being on pole position last year, this is pretty disappointing. But, you know, I got everything out of it I could. So, yeah, we need to have a look and see where we can find the time.
Last year it was a wire-to-wire win, so actually it's not the best position for you tomorrow for the race, but actually with the DRS and the option tires, everything is possible. We've seen this with Dirk Werner in Hockenheim.
Yeah, I think here is completely different. I mean, it's much more difficult to overtake here, even with DRS. But with the strategy, hopefully we can do something, and we just need to try and score points. I mean, winning the race from P12 is unrealistic, and even the podium. But if we can score some points, for the championship, that would be good.
Cross our fingers for you. Thank you very much, Gary. Back to you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Eve. So that's Gary Paffitt's take. Going to be different to Hockenheim, agree entirely with that.
Absolutely.
So Glock in 11th place to start halfway through the grid. So get ready for another desperate Q3 with it decided by fractions of a second. There's Jamie Green. No more racing or driving for him today.
See his brother in the background in the spectacles, Nigel, who's a very good Formula 2 stock car racer, but he's on the books, as Jamie calls it this year. He goes to each round of the DTM as Jamie's assistant, because there's quite a lot going on these days, and Jamie wants somebody to look after him, so who better than his brother, who, as I say, is no mean oval racer. Jamie came out of oval racing a long time ago. There's Matthias Ekström looking very frustrated.
And indeed, we can hear from Ekström, who's just joining Eve right now.
Yes, he's with me and looking really disappointed. What happened, Matthias?
Yeah, I think it was more what not happened. I mean, we had struggling in the practice with a lot of broken parts, and then in qualifying again, we broke a part already in the first outing. So for sure that was hurting a bit. And generally, I just couldn't get any more out of it. We have problems we didn't solve, so that's a bit frustrating. But now we hope for wet tomorrow.
You're hoping for better weather conditions, like rain for you especially. Actually, your season didn't start so well in Hockenheim. You didn't finish. So what's possible for tomorrow for this short track?
If it's dry, it will be hard work to come to the front. But if it's wet, then for sure we have still a good chance to come up front. But risks and chances are small.
We wait for tomorrow what's going to be about the weather. So you love to drive with the four-wheel drive cars with the rally style. So hopefully tomorrow it's getting wet. Thanks, Matthias. Back to you.
Thanks very much. Because these Audis are two-wheel drive. Years ago, David, do you remember the old DTM, the four-wheel drive Quattros, hands stuck in the light? They were monsters, they were. These cars are pretty impressive with their V8 engines, 460 horsepower. Well, you can relax amongst the daisies here at Brands Hatch, as you see. Now we can hear from Timo Glock. Pretty good qualifying, really, from Timo, new to the DTM.
New to the DTM, and for sure you improved. In Hockenheim you were 15th, in the qualifying today 11th. So are you happy with that result?
Yeah, I think it was not too bad for being here the first time in Brands Hatch. Never drove around here with the car. Just had 1.5 hours of free practice and struggled a bit this morning, but improved quite a lot through free practice. And Q1 was good, and the run in Q2 was good as well. Was my time in the top 10, but suddenly my time got taken away by race control for some reason, which is a bit a shame because I would have been in the top 10. But it seems to be in DTM normal that the rule changes over the weekend because the track limits were not there, and suddenly the race director changed it over in free practice, which is a bit of a joke, but that's how it is. We need to get used to that and see what we can do tomorrow in the race.
How do you like the first band, Paddock Hill Band?
Oh, it's good. It's good fun. I mean, this morning I was like a bit blind there and didn't know where to turn in, but yeah, I got better and better, and at the end it looked okay.
Okay, so good luck for tomorrow, and hopefully you finish this race.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. So that's Timo Glock, first time at Brands Hatch. So there's a couple of guys not through to the next session, discussing their problems as Rocky goes out first again.
That point that you just heard Timo making about the track limits changing is at this corner, and it's different from Hockenheim. It's not just a white line you're driving over. Each time the car runs wide and chews up the dirt, it's digging away behind the curb, and it's making it more and more difficult to come back on, risking damaging the car. So I would suggest the race director has done the right thing now, because there's been so much abuse of that this morning on safety grounds. He's got to put that regulation back in.
Yeah, so Rockenfeller again, first out with the Team Phoenix run car in those bright colours, the colours that Tomczyk used when he won the championship a couple of years ago. And Molina also, and Tomczyk out there, the three at the moment. Remember, we're going to knock another 6 out. We've got the top 10 at the moment. Unlike Formula 1, though, we have an extra bit of shootout, just one flying lap for the fastest 4, and that will decide the positions for the first 2 rows of the grid for Sunday's race.
So Rockenfeller will set the benchmark time as he has in the previous two parts of qualifying. This the first flying lap then. As he comes over the line, you can see people still leaving the pit lane, and the gun time then is a 41.559. Marco Vittman's BMW joins in. Martin Tomczyk is on track, and he has gone quicker in sector 1 than Rocky did. So the BMW once again looking oh so strong around here. Martin Tomczyk's been a winner at Brands for Audi.
A year ago in Q3, it was Mike Rockenfeller who was fastest. He was on a 41.020. We had a Formula 3 race, David, earlier on, and times just seemed a fraction slower. I think it must be track temperature, really. It's just slowing the cars down a little bit as Tomczyk goes to the top of the pile. 41.189 for Tomczyk.
He's got the road to himself. Of course, the track clearer now with just 10 cars circulating, including Miguel Molina there, who goes third on a 41.562. So of the three that have done a time, it's Tomczyk, then Rockenfeller, then Molina thus far. 8.5 minutes still to go.
There's that Audi Cup car, that football competition, which Audi promote. Mini competition, if you will, but with big teams.
Well, you say that, Manchester City, I mean, come on, they should have put Wigan on the evidence of last week. That's Timo Scheider, as Andrew made the point earlier on in the day, back in the black livery for the Auto Test sponsored Audi. And Scheider is another driver you can never rule out. Pole position, of course, last time. And as he powers his way along Cooper Straight, double champion. And he is 6 times a race winner. He won here in 08. 10 pole positions to his name. Marco Vittman in his rookie season has looked very strong around here today.
Yeah, he's no longer got Super Mario riding alongside him on his crash helmet, which he had for years. Obviously, that sponsorship deal has come to its natural end, but no Super Mario on his crash helmet. Timo Scheider, though, in 5th place at the moment in the Auto Test back car. That's a magazine which has a Timo Scheider column in the back of it. You can read about the latest Merc or whatever in that magazine, as long as, of course, you read German.
Scheider on his first flying lap, powering his way now up towards clearways. Remember, it's the top 4 that go through. So once again, we're going to lose some big names in all of this. And Timo Scheider needs to go better than a 41.1, really, to book his place into Q4. He comes over the timing line now, and as he goes through, he doesn't go into the top 4. He's only 5th, 41.7, but there's more to come. Replay of Graham Hill Bend here. Interesting corner this, Andrew. It's the only real left-hander on the lap,
yeah,
and therefore you arrive there lap after lap with the tyres, certainly early in a qualifying or a race, the tyres are much cooler, and therefore there's always a bit of understeer at that corner. They don't get to work out the right-hand side
on
tyres.
board with our man from Brazil here, winner 2 weeks ago. Augusto Farfus. The team nicknamed him Gustel, which is the German for gusto. And he drives for that, doesn't he?
Absolutely. Whether it was Formula 3000 or 2-litre touring cars or the DTM, he is always a spectacular driver, and you can rely on him to do something to attract attention. But he's only 6th fastest at the moment. Joey Hand has gone through, but he is only 7th.
Just the 7 of them out there at the moment.
There is Hand through paddock. Prio is on track now. That makes 8. It is going to be a curious-looking grid, which in itself is going to help the race tomorrow. What has Farfus getting on? Improvement in Sector 1.
Well, for British fans, it's Prio they've got to cheer for now. Yeah. It's one remaining Brit in there. Talking of British DTM drivers and former champions, good to see Paul de Resta here this weekend. I believe Jenson Button here is going to be here on Sunday, David.
That's right, yes. So Farfus goes through but doesn't get in. This is Prio building up to a flying lap. Yeah. Still Tomczyk is the quickest on a 41.109.
Yeah. Prio in the Crown Plaza Hotel's back car. There you see the purple and white livery. Apparently at a weekend you wave your BMW car keys at the reception of Crown Plaza Hotel and you get an upgrade, I'm told.
Good deal. Prio upgrade himself to the top 4. At the moment, he's yet to do a proper lap time, but he's set his benchmark in the first sector of 15.9.
That might just get him in for now.
For now, exactly, yeah.
You need a 15.8 something in that first sector, and you need a 11, probably 11.1 in the second sector. What's Prio done? 11.2. So I think this might put him fourth this lap.
It does. 41.358. Pole last year was a 41.266. I'm not sure we're going to beat that this year.
Another set of tyres going on to Hans' car. Just remember, all running on the primes. You cannot run on the option in this session. Farfus just sort of went into the pits. Here's Molina. Molina stays in 5th place. Prio still in. This will be his best qualifying in his will be 12 race DTM career. Just under 4 minutes remaining. We've got Prio is out on track at the moment, David, I think. What about Hand is out on track? There's the Scheider car getting ready.
Spengler has just joined in as well. There he is, coming up towards Druids. Another driver who doesn't exactly count the Brands Hatch Indy circuit amongst his favourites, but he does normally go pretty well here.
He does. I think he put it pretty close to the bottom of his list, actually. So,
getting some warmth into the tyres, look, weaving around.
Yeah.
Up towards Clearways, through Surtees and McLaren. This is Clearways, speed building up towards Clark Curve. Bit of curb taken on the inside. Don't go too wide. Remember Mika Häkkinen doing that in qualifying a few years ago and ending up with a big lose coming out of the corner. Clock starts when he goes across the white line. Now Spengler onto a flying lap.
And Spengler is superb in these qualifying sessions. When you want one really quick lap, Spengler is often your man.
Less than 3 minutes to go, so he's got to put it out of the bag on this one or the next one. At the moment, we haven't had a time out of Mortara either.
And Mortara is just got to put one, just going for the one lap.
Now Farfus is back out, Andrew, and he's improved in the first sector. Of course, the championship leader is only 8th, so there's more to come from him. Let's first of all worry about Spengler, though, as he comes up towards the timing line.
Yeah,
and as he goes over the line, he goes 3rd fastest on a 41.274.
Watch for Farfus. I think he's going to knock Prio back to 5th place.
He's already 5th, Prio.
Oh, he is now, and now he's 6th.
Farfus 3rd. So that's more like it. But we're not done yet. 2 more minutes. Scheider has gone back out for another attempt.
We've got a Hand out there as well, not on a quick lap at the moment.
And Mortara yet to do a time, so what can he offer? This is Scheider, 2 personal bests. Look in sectors 1 and 2 through Clark Curve, heading up towards the timing line. And 1 minute and 3/4, so he's going to get 2 more laps even after this. Up towards the line. He is 9th at the moment, Timo Scheider, and he goes 8th. Big deal. It's 1 row further up the grid, but it's not where he wants to be.
So Martin Tomczyk, since joining BMW from Audi, yet to win a DTM race. Could this be his weekend? What about Mortara, the only man to win for Audi last year? Had a brilliant victory in the mountains of Spielberg a year ago. Really pushing that car.
There's a lot of commitment in this lap. You saw how wide he was and ragged he was at Graham Hill Bend. He's right on the limit as well at Clark Curve, using all of the curb. So this is his first proper lap. What does it do for him? He goes over the timing line, keeps him 10th. More to come. 2 more laps he can wring out of this, Andrew. And there's Andy Prio, who won't be going back.
No, he won't be going out again.
So he's out, he's 7th. Scheider's up to 5th. So Tomczyk, Rockenfeller, Farfus and Spengler are the 4 that go through, potentially.
Well, there's Molina walking away. He is done and dusted. He will start in 9th place. Hand just gone 4th.
So that bumps out Spengler, who is on track still. And that going really wide is Mortara coming out of Clark. He'd already dropped time in the middle sector. That's going to lose him even more time in the 3rd. And the net result is a better lap time, but he, of course, doesn't improve from 10th.
He still can get one more in.
He can. And he needs to. So do we lose Spengler? But at the moment, potentially, yes, we do. Farfus pits. There is Scheider, down to 6th, pole at Hockenheim. There is Bruno Spengler. What's his first sector all about? Not very good is the answer. So I think we're going to wave goodbye to the reigning champion here in Q3.
Yeah, but from 5th, he can still do it. Hand is in the pits. He's going to go, I think Hand's going to be in his first top 4 shootout. second year in the DTM.
So the flag is out. Mortara got himself up to 9th.
3 BMWs, 1 Audi.
In the top 4, yeah. Well, BMW putting a lot of effort into promotion around this event, being rewarded with a very good qualifying and good prospects for the race. There's Andy Prio, who is 8th on the grid. I think he'll be pretty chuffed with that.
Yeah, I think he'll be happy enough with that. Yeah, from what I hear, David, BMW's budget for the DTM is quite substantially bigger than the other 2 manufacturers. And of course, it's their prime racing effort, whereas of course Mercedes have got Formula 1, Audi have got their Le Mans program. Of course, that's getting closer.
And there is a man who is out of qualifying then. He will start 5th provisionally, Bruno Spengler.
Yeah, he can still do well from there.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll be happy with that, I think, 5th on a circuit that really he doesn't like. Not sure who likes it. Well, I suppose at the moment, Martin Tomczyk likes it and Mike Rockefeller likes it.
Depends who wins tomorrow, then they'll like it, yeah.
Yeah.
The Joey Hand's car getting ready for Q4.
Yeah, for the first time. Joey, of course, also races for BMW in America. It was BMW America who recommended him to Jonas Marquardt at the back end of 2011. Came over, did a test, was mega quick. And then last season was a settling in year, really. But in a BMW GT car in America, American Le Mans Series, nobody quicker than Joey Hand. Tomczyk, Rockefeller, Farfus and Hand are the 4 that are in, with 0.158 of a second between that 4. Spengler, Scheider, Whitman, Prio, Mortara and Molina complete the top 10. So row 3 of the grid will be Spengler and Scheider, 2 big names of the DTM. The next row will be Whitman and Prio, and then it'll be Mortara and Molina in their 2 Audis. Plenty of racing flags around here in the Kent countryside. Still seem to be manoeuvring that car there.
Yeah, it went to scrutineering first, didn't it?
Ah, that's what it is. Yeah, they pushed it.
It's been released from the scrutineering bay now to the team. Of course, that eats into the time you've got to do any work on the car if you need to. So let's see some of the people that didn't make it through. Andrew Miguel Molina will start 10th, but it was a committed effort.
Yeah, it certainly was committed, wasn't it? Just a bit too committed, I think, in the 20 Audi Cup car.
But top 10 is not bad, and Eduardo Mortara was another driver that wrung the neck of the car, the Playboy Audi.
Yeah, they're calling them, see that little RS5 badge, as they're calling the cars, called them A5s last year. This year they're calling them RS5s, which of course is the really racy spec of the A5, rather more horsepower than my 2-litre diesel A5.
8th Andy Prio for BMW.
Yep.
And as we were saying in commentary, I think he'll be pretty pleased. Relieved, maybe a better word after that, but Andy getting back up towards the pointy end of the grid in the BMW.
See, he's got the Union Jack on there rather than the flag of Guernsey.
There he is.
Yep. I think he's probably heading towards Eve.
And this is the man that will start 7th, Marco Vittman.
Yeah,
good effort in his rookie season in the DTM, isn't it?
The Ice Watch car. Not a guy that has a broad smile across his face very often, actually, Marco Whitman. He's a bit of a dour character, but a lot resting on his shoulders, of course.
Timo Scheider may not be smiling hugely either. He's 6th, but it's not too bad. But as people keep saying, Andrew, it's so hard to overtake around here. He'd love to be higher up the grid than 6th, but on strategy, on pit stops, plus whatever the weather throws at us, he can improve from there. Scheider 6th.
We've heard it in those interviews, and we heard it from Gary, of course. It's going to be a very different matter to Hockenheim. Yes, we've got the option tyres now. Yes, we've got the DRS, but around here, it won't make so much difference. Bruno Spengler just out of the top 4, the reigning DTM champion after all those years of trying.
Out by 7 thousandths of a second. That's what he was bumped out by. Forces a smile.
Yep. And his dad, a great supporter, of course. Comes to most of the races.
Jamie Green found that.
Yep. So it's what they call a that's what they call a hero card. And here's another hero, Andy Prio, down there with Eve.
Exactly. Andy, you were the last local hero in the top 10. You finished 8th. How happy are you?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good step for me. I was pretty happy with the car. Unfortunately, I had to use 2 sets of tyres in Q2. I had a really good first lap, which was disallowed, but I had my best first sector. and I was a bit disappointed about that. So it meant I only had one run in Q3, but I was happy with my time. My lap was okay, a little bit of rear locking in the hairpin, which cost me the 10th, which I needed to go through. So there's a lot of promise there, and just keep chipping away.
But good to hear for BMW, for BMW in the top 5.
Yeah, that's really impressive. I mean, BMW's been very strong here, which is great, and I think we can have a really strong race tomorrow from where we are on the grid. Anything can happen with the British weather, so hopefully we'll have a little bit of changeable weather tomorrow, and I can maximise my opportunity to do well here.
Perhaps it's going to be exciting and surprising tomorrow. Good luck, Andy. Thanks a lot.
Maximise the opportunity. I think that's probably one of the scripts that's on the wall at the I-Zone at Silverstone, run by Andy and John Pratt, a great simulator centre there. You can even go, we've even got little kart simulators. I was there the other day, was an 8-year-old kid on a sim, you know. He wasn't on a computer game, he was actually on a race simulator. But it's a good operation they run up at Silverstone. Of course, our old friend Darren Turner also runs a rival operation. Better give him a plug as well.
Ex-DTM racer, Darren Turner, yes.
Indeed, yes, we're from Mercedes. Joey Hand, Farfus. And now we can hear from former champion Timo Scheider.
Former champion and a pole sitter from Hockenheim. So how happy are you about P6?
Happy, you can't say happy, but we struggled already this morning with the front axle especially. And we did not cover the problem completely for qualifying. So we missed the Q4 by 15,000. So you can't say we did that or that wrong. So overall is the third row. I think quite a good chance to have a good race. So we try our very best tomorrow.
So actually in Hockenheim you started from pole, finished 6, and here you're starting from 6, going to the front?
That could be nice. If that's the idea, I try to take it, yeah.
Would be a good strategy.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, all the best for you. Thanks.
Thanks, Eve. I like that one. Yeah, 6 to first, maybe. Who's this gentleman?
He's a snappy dresser.
He certainly is. Why do people do that?
I can't answer that question.
No. So there's a young race fan. Maybe she's the next Susie Wolf up there.
So, Q4, Andrew, tell us how this works.
Well, they go out, they do one flying lap, they cross the line, and they do one lap that counts, and they do one slowing down lap. Simple as that. And
Joey Hand will go first. You've seen him getting ready.
Yeah, he'll go
first. The man
first.
that will go last, Martin Tomczyk, because it's in reverse order.
Yeah,
so the slowest one goes out first. So the order will be Hand, Farfus, Rockenfeller, and then Tomczyk.
And on the screen we'll get the splits, David. So here is Joey Hand for the first time into this situation. He's got to, of course, get a lot of temperature into his tyres. It's beyond fresh rubber for this.
And it's the real pressure lap, isn't it? All the cameras on you, nobody else to watch. It's just you and the circuit. There's nothing to blame apart from your own driving. You can't blame traffic.
And as Andy Prio said, you know, just tiny bit too much pressure on the brake pedal going up to Druids. Just a little lock-up for a fraction of a second, and that blew it.
Yeah.
And you've got to get every one of those braking points absolutely spot on. You've got to get the line spot on. You've got to be onto the gas. And you said, David, how difficult it is to be on the gas at the right place. And here he is going for this lap.
So let's have a prediction. Who's going to get pole quickly before this lap starts? You've got 4 to choose from. I'll go for Farfus.
I'll go for Hand, just to be crazy.
So BMW's both we back. This is Hand, this is Paddock, this is the lap. Let's see how he gets on. The first sector is completed coming out of Druids. The graphic there, getting ready to accommodate the split times, then we can do the comparison. Power on as you come out of the hairpin. Don't go too soon, it pushes you out wide. That white line across the road is the end of sector 1 and a 16.1. It's not great.
No, that's not great. I've lost my bet already, I'll tell you, at 16.1. Need a 15.9 in that sector.
So 27.2 is the cumulative time. He comes up towards clearways. The car looks a little bit nervy. Again, a bit of correction there.
Out a bit. And here comes the man from Sacramento, California, and he crosses the line and stops the clock at 41.460. And Bruno, meanwhile, who was kicked out by Hand, is with Eve.
Bruno, you were kicked out from your teammate Joey Hand, who's right at the Q4, so with 4,000s. Bad luck for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's for sure it's not very nice, but that's the game. And I was struggling a bit the whole qualifying in turn 2. I was having a bit of grip issues in turn 2, just struggling a little bit with the balance of my car. So I was trying to make no mistakes in my lap, and which I did until the second lap. in Q3. Probably I would have improved just slightly bit, who knows. But anyway, I was a little bit wide in turn 2 there. So, I mean, this costed a little bit, definitely. We have to see a little bit tomorrow what's possible. But I'm sure, you know, in the new DTM format, a fifth place is nothing bad and nothing is over. So I'm really motivated for the race tomorrow. I know my guys are amazing in pit stops and they're also doing the best. They're giving everything in a strategy. So, you know, I will push really, really hard. The fight is not over. Tomorrow is a new day and I'll try to come up front and who knows, maybe win the race.
Everything is possible in the new DTM. Thanks, good luck for tomorrow.
Thanks very much. Farfus out on this lap. We're looking at that first split there. He crosses the line and he's 0.1 of a second faster than his teammate Hand. Farfus and Hand running with the same Belgian-based team, of course, David. They are complete teammates, garage mates even.
He's better in sector 2 as well, so this will put Augusto Farfus to the top of the 2 times thus far. It's been clean through sector 3. The time to beat was a 41.4. It's a 41.197. That could well be pole. Farfus goes quicker than Hand, but there are still 2 to go. Crucially, of course, Andrew, one of them being an Audi.
Yeah, let's see what happens with the Audi. But meanwhile, just a bit of slow-mo there of Farfus, certainly on it this year, isn't he?
And both of those laps slower than the drivers did in Q3.
Yeah.
Mike Rockenfeller goes next then. This is Farfus in replay heading into Clearways. And thumbs up from Joey Hand. He will be delighted to be 4th on the grid.
He certainly will. Yeah, what can Rocky do? Could this be a mega weekend for him?
Down to Graham Hill Bend, then he comes. This is the out lap. So no sectors yet because we're not on a proper time lap. He's getting everything up to temperature, making adjustments in the car if needs be. Podium here last year. The car run by Team Phoenix.
Yeah, that seat he sits in, I held one yesterday. They had a little technical briefing out. It weighs just 2 kilos. Cross the line then to start his lap. And we'll wait to see how quick he is through Paddock Hill Bend and down into Druids, the compression there, and then braking. You've got to get your braking absolutely right there. Certainly hits the apex in the perfect spot, crosses the line.
Quicker than the other 2, so he's up on the BMWs in the first sector. So Rockenfeller quickest thus far in Q4 in the first sector. What about the middle sector? He is slower there, only by 600ths, but he's slower than Farfus. But over the lap thus far, he is looking as though it's going to be pole position. Let's see. This should put him quicker than the 2 BMWs as he comes up towards the timing line. He goes through, and the lap from Rockenfeller puts him quickest, 41.193.
He's done 60-odd DTM races, and Rocky's had just 1 pole in that career thus far.
And he's fastest, Andrew, by 4 thousandths of a second. How about that? Well, there's Martin Tomczyk still to go, so the celebrations for Audi can't start just yet. But how about this? He's this lone driver, isn't he, upholding Audi's honour then in Q4. And could he get a pole position? That'd be some story that just one Audi gets itself up to the pointy end of the grid and goes top. Either way, the worst he's going to do is start second.
Yeah.
But depending on what Martin Tomczyk, ex-Audi driver, does now for BMW, Rocky could be on pole. This is Tomczyk. This is the last car in qualifying with just 1 lap to go.
Yeah, let's see what Tomczyk can do then, the former champion in the white BMW in the traditional colours of the Bavarian company. And Rockenfeller is, who dives down through Paddock Hill Bend, then the compression again, and then up and get your braking spot on. And he just about missed the apex, I think, there, David, by a bit. It comes out wide, crosses the line, and he is down a bit. And it's looking good for Rocky, but we're talking about fractions. We're talking about 14 thousandths of a second.
He should go second unless he puts a wheel out of line in the next sector. He goes quicker than anybody in the middle sector. He's going to pull this back. As long as he doesn't go too wide at Clark Curve, Tomczyk has got a chance here of snatching pole position because of a really good middle sector. He's up towards the timing line. 41.193 to beat. He goes over the line. He goes quickest on a 41.158. Tomczyk pulls it out of the bag in the middle sector to go better than anybody, and he has done it. He's put BMW onto pole position, and that was a really mighty lap. He dug deep for that.
Yeah, the new dad, Martin Tomczyk, gets his 9th pole position in his long career in the DTMs, stretching over 122 races, and just pushes out Mike Rockenfeller. So Tomczyk, Rockenfeller on row 1, Farfus in hand on the second row of the grid. See the celebrations. Martin Tomczyk with the Team RMG.
I said it before during the course of this qualifying, but the grid that we are now going to get is an absolutely fascinating one, and that is going to be lending itself to a really spectacular race tomorrow. No matter what the weather gods have in store for us, the grid is going to be helping to make a good race, plus whatever the teams come up with on the pit wall. But Martin Tomczyk is going to be very, very happy about that. Tomczyk, Rockenfeller, Farfus and Hand will be the top 4. We'll confirm the rest of the grid in due course as Martin Tomczyk clambers out of the car. 5th will be Spengler, 6th will be Scheider, Vittman, Prio, Mortara and Molina will round out the top 10. Then it's Glock, Paffett, Ekstrom, Wickens, Werner, Tombay, 16th, Vitoris, Green, Albuquerque, Mehi, Wehrlein, Hunkadea to round out the 22. What a session.
Yep, and a thought for the team. Stefan Reinhold, the team boss there. He'll be happy with that. Bit of weighing going on. There's Jens Marquardt, the overall boss of BMW Motorsport, with the PR boss, so Jörg Kottmeyer, Cotty as we call him. And Yves is with Jens Marquardt. Let's hear from him.
Just jumping from the grandstand. Congratulations, Jens Marquardt. It's incredible. 4 BMW in the top 5. You must be really happy with the result for Brands Hatch.
Well, obviously, fantastic result. Congratulations to Martin. He deserved that one so much. And Team Reinhold, really after a not so good weekend in Hockenheim, coming back so strong. I mean, Martin was here all Saturday already really on the pace. But also RBM, 2 cars in the top 4 qualifying for first time for BMW. Our overall best qualifying so far, so we are extremely happy.
And our Formula 1 hero, Timo Glock, improved with P11.
Well, and really, really very, very fractionally out. So I think we see there the slope is rising, so we can be overall only happy. But also Marco, with the new team, they really did a great job. And we could see his speed already this morning, and we'll see tomorrow.
Good luck for tomorrow. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks very much, Sir David. Take us through the top 11 there.
Martin Tomczyk ahead of Mike Rockenfeller then, the top 2. Augusto Farfus and Joey Hand will be on the second row of the 1x1 staggered grid. Then it's Spengler and Scheider, row 3. Vittman and Prio are 7th and 8th ahead of Mortara, Molina and Timo Glock rounds out the first half of the 22-strong grid for only his second ever DTM race. Gary Paffett, disappointed, 12th. Matthias Ekstrom, disappointed, 13th. Robert Wickens, 14th. Dirk Werner, second at Hockenheim from 22nd, will start 15th ahead of Adrian Tombay. Christian Vitoris, disappointed, 18th. Jamie Green. Then it's Felipe Albuquerque, Roberto Mehi, Pascal Wehrlein, and Daniel Hunkadea rounds out the 22 cars. That is a very quirky-looking grid.
It is, but that's the DTM for you. Well, I'm exhausted after all that. It was good stuff, wasn't it? And it's just so close. It's fractions of a second. There, another photo opportunity. Must say, I'm pleased to see Joey Hand right up there. We know Joey well from American racing. And Farfus, he'll be bouncing around the BMW hospitality area. He's a proud dad. Very interesting interview with him after the race at Hockenheim. And our man in the press conference, Richie, said, oh, you'll be celebrating, you'll be out partying. You say, oh no, I'm a family man, I won't be partying. I should just have a quiet dinner with my wife and so on. And he said, but you're Brazilian. He says, yes, but I'm not going to be partying. Because Ricky is always trying to get an invite to these parties.
Oh, I see, right.
Every time he does these interviews, and what about the party? Well, sorry. Not always like that.
Family man.
Yeah.
The wild streak that he used to display when he first came into touring car racing gradually has gone, and he's now a much more complete driver.
And what make of car was he driving?
It was Alfa Romeo, but let's go to Eve first of all, because she's got the pole sitter, Martin Tomczyk.
Congratulations, big cheering between Jens Marquardt and Martin Tomczyk. Oh, he's so incredible happy about this. Martin, congratulations, you're laughing from one to the other year.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, it's my first pole with a BMW. Yeah, long time no see there in the first row for me, so I'm pretty happy. My team, Team Reinhold, did a fantastic job. I mean, Brands is always very tight, and it was today as well very tight. So I'm really happy. I can't find the words. I just try to do the same thing tomorrow, and then we see what's going on.
Just make it like Gary last year. Okay, congratulations again. Thanks.
Yeah, congratulations too to Martin. Thanks, Eve. And there's the BMW personnel celebrating. Just to explain, David, you know, the Audi have a sort of top squad which is run by App Motorsport, and of course at Mercedes the top cars are run by HWA, but at BMW there's 4 separate teams of 2, all run by independent race car teams. But now we can go to Farfus, who is there with Eve.
Augusto, congratulations, you finished 3rd position, so actually not too bad for tomorrow.
I think I'm very happy after, I mean, it's the 2nd time in Q4. Okay, I wish to be on pole, but I think P3 is already good enough. We struggled a little bit to get the car in a good balance, so we had to build up during the free practice, also in qualifying. And then bringing home a car in P3, I think is more than enough. I'm extremely happy we have 2 cars in top 4 from Team RBM, so well done to the boys. Well done to Martin. He put the car on pole, so I think BMW looks strong here. But tomorrow we have almost 100 laps in front of us, so step by step, let's see what the race will bring to us.
Good luck for tomorrow. Thank you, Gusto.
Yeah, Gusto, or Gusto in English.
So Gustle bustles off now.
Yes.
Down the pit lane, there's Martin Tomczyk heading for the press conference.
And we will get to that press conference. We'll hear some longer answers probably up in that.
As we said during the course of the session, he's been a winner here 2 years ago, the year he won the championship in the year-old Audi that really made people sit up and take notice. People were starting to write him off, but far from it. Wolfgang Ulrich with Jens Marquardt in the pit lane.
And Dieter Gass, who is now head of DTM, and Jürgen Pippig, who's the head of PR for Audi. It's the brains trust there. So they're just taking a little bit of responsibility away from Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich, but just, of course, it's such a big program. They've now got bosses of the DTM and also of the Le Mans program as well. As we look at the starting grid, and that's how it's going to look like with the 2 cars there of 2 old rivals in Tomczyk and Rockenfeller. Then on the 2nd row, for the first time, Joey Hand alongside last race's winner, Augusto Farfus. Then Spengler, the reigning champion, Timo Scheider, a past champion, now back in black. As we said, Marco Whitman in his rookie season starts 7th alongside local hero Andy Prio, his best qualifying for ages. Eduardo Mortara Edo alongside Miguel Molina, both in their red Audis. And then it's Timo Glock, fresh from the Russia team, and Gary Paffett winning here a year ago. Matthias Ekstrom, another former champion, with the Canadian Rob Wickens alongside him in the orange Merc. Then it's Dirk Werner, who came from the back of the grid to 2nd 2 weeks ago with Adrian Tombe with the Ironman car. Then Christian Vittoris and Jamie Green. Jamie, let's see what he can do in the race. Then Felipe Albuquerque. So Roberto Meri alongside him, and Iberian Peninsula row there with Pascal Wehrlein at 18 and Danny Juncadella, both fresh out of Formula 3, and they are on the back of the grid. Nice shot here in slow-mo of Joey Hand, former winner, of course, of the Daytona 24, overall winner of that big sports car race, and 4th at 41.460 in the Exide batteries, grey and white BMW. From Brazil, Gusto Farfus, a winner 2 weeks ago, will start in 3rd place. But on the front row of the grid, we have an Audi in the yellow and green colours of the Schaeffler Group with Mike Rockenfeller at the wheel. And Mike just 1 victory in the DTM in over 60 races. But what about this? The champion from 2011, then for Audi, but now he gets his best pole for his first pole for BMW as we go back down to the pits. Eve is with Mike Rockenfeller.
P2, congratulations, Mike, and actually not too bad with Audi, 4 Audis in the top 10, so everything is possible for the race tomorrow.
I hope so. I mean, first row is always great. Of course, I wanted to be on pole, but congratulations to BMW and Martin. I think we had a good day in our team, Audi overall, also Team Phoenix. We did a good job, and so I have to say thanks to my boys for preparing the car. At the end, I think we have all the chances to win the race tomorrow, so we need to do our homework and do a good start tomorrow, and then we will see what happens.
Wish dry or rainy conditions?
The best for me, so I don't know, whatever it is, we have to take it, but for sure in the dry we look quite good.
Cross my fingers for you. Thanks. Rocky.
So we see what Rocking could do there as we look at an empty grid here at Brands Hatch. The DTM qualifying is over, but we're going to go to the press conference, but let's look at some of the highlights here with the new DTM song, David.
Und mir ist nichts passiert. Ich bin viel zu lang im Kreis geschwommen. Ich kam einfach nicht am Ufer an. Es ist ein Wunder, dass ich lebe und dass ich Lieder drüber singen kann. Ich bin einfach so drüber gesprungen, einfach so. Ich steh nicht mehr still, auch wenn man mich hier in Ketten legt.
Yeah, the guy that sings this, Dave, just got his racing license, and I think we may see him a little later in the season in the VW Sirocco Cup, and he's come up through one of these TV competitions. He's a big star now in Germany. He now judges the German version of The Voice. You know that funny? I don't know if you've seen that program. Usually, in the past, we've had English songs sung by top German bands as the DTM official song, but
many moons ago, I remember Leo Sayer doing it a long time ago.
He just tweeted me the other day.
Did he really?
Well,
as he would.
He would Facebook me actually. I have a silly picture on Facebook.
Is that a verb? Facebook?
Yeah.
Get out. Get out.
You're right there, yeah. He sent me a message on Facebook. I was wearing a strange cowboy hat, which he decided was Australian. Must have a lot of time on his hands. Let's have a nice chat with him in the British Grand Prix. Last year.
Petrol head, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a huge petrol head. It's also a big curly head. Leo Sayer, yeah. So we reckon the press conference is just about 30 seconds away from a pretty crowded press room here in Brands Hatch. And sure Ricky will be there, probably in some dodgy pair of trousers, because he likes to wear rather interesting trousers. But he's always got some incisive questions for our top runners. And so we're just heading there. In a second, we see these pictures of the pole sitter. And I'm sure the pole sitter, Martin Tomczyk, will be there. And Ricky will be ready with his first question.